moving into a time of the election of officers, and nominations are now in order for the office of President. The chair recognizes Dr. Fred Luter to make a nomination.
President Floyd, Executive Committee, and fellow messengers, I am indeed delighted and excited that I have been invited to submit the name of Pastor David Crosby as the next president of the Southern Baptist Convention. Brothers and sisters, my prayer is that you would consider the name of David Crosby as president for 3 reasons. First of all, David is a man of character. I have known David Crosby for the last 20 years. He and I served the city of New Orleans, he at First Baptist Church, and myself at Franklin Avenue Baptist Church. During these 20 years, he has the reputation of a man of high morals and high values. He leads not only by his preaching and teaching, but also by his lifestyle. David is a committed husband to his wife Janet, to his 3 children, and to his 8 grandchildren. David's leadership is also evident as he has led First Baptist Church to be a leader in the cooperative program giving. First Baptist Church and the churches that David has led has consistently through the years given between 7 and 15% of their undesignated receipts through the cooperative program. First Baptist Church has also led our local New Orleans Baptist Association in Lottie Moon and Annie Armstrong giving to the international and national missions. Truly, David Crosby is a man of character. Secondly, David is a man of compassion. After Hurricane Katrina nearly destroyed New Orleans with 80% of the city underwater, David and the congregation of First Baptist Church was a leading church in rebuilding our city. First Baptist Church helped more than 1,000 homeowners recover after the hurricane. They also partners with Habitat Humanity to build 91 houses to bless hardworking families in the Lower Ninth Ward of our city. They also allowed our congregation at Franklin Avenue Baptist Church to worship there for 2.5 years when our church was still underwater. First Baptist Church has also through the years ministered in some of the most violent projects and neighborhoods in the city of New Orleans. Because of his character and because of his compassion, David also has been a personal advisor to several police chiefs as well as other public officials in the city of New Orleans. But not only did David have compassion for the people in New Orleans, he has compassion for all people, evident by having been on more than 30 international mission trips. David Crosby is a man of character, he's a man of compassion, but finally, David Crosby is a man of concern. Because of his care and concern for the Southern Baptist Convention, David has served on various boards and positions on our local association, our state convention, as well as positions with several national entities. Now he feels he can make a greater difference as president of the Southern Baptist Convention. Brothers and sisters, please hear my heart. My nomination of David Crosby is not because I'm against J.D. Greer or Steve Gaines. I honestly love and respect what both of those brothers have done in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, and Memphis, Tennessee. However, I have seen up close and personal for 20 years how God has used David in the city of New Orleans, and I have no doubt that God will use David the same way in our beloved convention. Therefore, because of his character, his compassion, and his concern, I proudly nominate David Crosby to be the next president of the Southern Baptist Convention. Thank you, and may God bless you and keep you is my prayer.
Thank you, Dr. Luter. Pastor David Crosby is nominated. At this time, the chair recognizes Dr. Johnny Hunt to make a nomination.
Thank you, Mr. President. My fellow brothers and sisters, it's with overwhelming joy for such a time as this in our Southern Baptist Convention to nominate my longtime friend, my dear brother, and my proven leader, Dr. Steve Gaines, as president of the Southern Baptist Convention. He has been pastoring Southern Baptist churches for the last 33 years. He's a graduate of 2 of our institutions, Union University and Southwestern Seminary, where he earned his PhD in preaching and evangelism. For the last 11 years, he has led the great Bellevue Baptist Church in Memphis. During this time, this wonderful church, under his leadership, has literally baptized thousands of new converts. It is in light of our overwhelming need to get back to evangelism, personal soul winning in our SBC for such a time as this. When baptisms are at a 15-year low, we need Steve to lead us in a great soul winning resurgence. I've been so encouraged. The last 2 days I've been on 2 panels, both dealing with evangelism. Read the article by our IMB on soul winning and evangelism. Reading what Lifeway is saying, what NAM is saying. It's a time to make soul winning a major priority. Steve is a soul winner. Wise is he that wins souls. Today is a very special day in the life of Steve Gaines and his wife Donna. Today they celebrate 36 years of marriage. Donna, many of you know, is the founder and chairwoman of the board for the wives session that meets every Monday during the Southern Baptist Convention. Most of you women in this room have been touched, blessed, and encouraged by the godly influence of Steve Gaines' wife, Miss Donna. Steve has served on the SBC nominating committee, Lifeway trustee, helped frame the Baptist Faith and Message 2000, president of the Pastors Conference, chairman of the Resolution Committee just last year. Steve has 4 children, all of which are actively involved in serving the Lord in the Southern Baptist Church. His son, Grant, is pastor of Calvary Baptist Church in Jackson, Tennessee, where he also holds a PhD from Southern Seminary. The righteous man walks in his integrity. His children are blessed after him. For such a time as this, Steve will lead Southern Baptist to be a soul-winning denomination once again. We also can build on the foundation of our president, Dr. Ronnie Floyd, in a great spiritual awakening resurgence. Steve, personally, is one of the godliest pastor friends that I know. I know him to be a great prayer warrior. He's one that knows that the only hope for our nation and for this denomination is a great movement of God. He has a real passion for stewardship. His church giving $1 million this year to the cooperative program. Today, as we vote for Steve, you elect the 4th president from Bellevue Baptist Church, following Dr. R.G. Lee, Ramsey Pollard, Dr. Adrian Rogers, and now today, I pray, Steve Gaines. Met for just a moment yesterday with Barry McCarty, 30 years our parliamentarian. He said, Pastor Johnny, 2 things holds the Southern Baptist Convention together: the cooperative program, the Baptist Faith and Message. And so as a result of that, there we go. Steve, being a part of the Baptist Faith and Message committee, has helped frame it, and then given $1 million to the cooperative program. I'm deeply convinced that Steve Gaines is God's chosen man to lead us for such a time as this. God bless you.
Pastor Steve Gaines has been nominated for the office of president. At this time, the chair would like to recognize Dr. Jimmy Scroggins to make a nomination.
My name is Jimmy Scroggins, and I'm the pastor of the First Baptist Church of West Palm Beach, Florida. And it's my honor today to place in nomination the name of Dr. J.D. Greer from Summit Church in North Carolina as president of the Southern Baptist Convention. J.D. started his ministry as a wanted man. When he was just a young IMB missionary in Southeast Asia, he was wanted by the Muslim authorities for his work in spreading the gospel. The work that he was doing there was creating such a stir that the Muslim authorities felt like they had to step in and shut him down. Now, I'm a dad, and if one of my boys gets in trouble with the law, that's the kind of trouble that I'm looking for, and that's frankly the kind of trouble that we need more of in the Southern Baptist Convention. Some great men of God have been nominated today to be our president, and whichever one of these men wins the election will have my love and my respect and my support. But today, J.D. is going to get my vote, and I want you to consider voting for him as well, and let me tell you why. There are some people who feel like the days are dim for the future of our convention. Baptisms are down, missionaries are coming home, churches are closing. Some would say that the best days of the SBC are behind us, but I respectfully disagree. The way forward is simple, and everybody knows what it is. We have to get younger, and we have to get more diverse if we want to have a future, and J.D. Greer has a church that is full of millennials and full of diversity, and he is a candidate that can take us as a convention where we need to go. J.D. Greer is the right man for this day and for this hour. J.D. leads a soul-winning, baptizing church. His church baptizes over 700 new believers every single year. J.D. leads a church that is involved in foreign missions. Summit Church has 134 members currently serving on the field with our International Mission Board. That is more than any Southern Baptist church has ever had at one time in our whole history. JD's church is supportive of the cooperative program. They give nearly $400,000 directly through the cooperative program, but then they give millions of dollars more to cooperative program projects. It's true that JD is a little bit younger than the other men who are being nominated today. He's 43 years old, and some have said that that's too young, that maybe he should wait his turn, but I strongly disagree with that because by then it may be too late. JD is the right man, and this is the right time for the baton to be passed from one generation of SBC leadership to another. JD's election would send a signal to an entire generation of Southern Baptists that their time has come. He would bring together churches of all sizes and people of all ethnicities. It would encourage thousands of pastors in their 20s and 30s and 40s that they can and should and must get involved in our convention. It's time for every voice, your voice, to be heard. J.D. Greer can look at every one of you in this room and say, your church matters. Your church has a place at the SBC table. Now, as important as youth and diversity is, we all know that what we really need is Holy Ghost revival. We need the fire of God to fall. We need a new great awakening, and JD is a humble man and a godly man with the anointing of God on his life. I believe that God has raised him up for this time. Now, JD does have a heart and a vision for the future, but he doesn't really care whether his picture is hanging on a wall in Nashville as a president of our denomination. What's defined his ministry is his willingness to have his picture hanging on a wall in a police station in Southeast Asia as a preacher of the gospel of Jesus Christ. From first to last, JD has built his life not around JD, but around JC. So join me. Let's unite as Southern Baptists and elect J.D. Greer as our president today.
Pastor J.D. Greer is nominated. Are there any further nominations? If not, the chair recognizes Dr. Jim Wells, Registration Secretary, for instructions on casting ballots.
Thank you, Mr. President. Listen very carefully. At this time, we have 7,223 messengers registered. Please take out your ballots. I hope you've already checked them. You should have ballots that are numbered 9 through 16. If there's any problem with your ballots, go to the registration booths. And please turn now to ballot number 9 and tear it out of your book of ballots so that you will not get it mixed up with the rest of the ballots. Every year on the first ballot, we get a number of ballot books. I guess you get excited voting and you just turn in the whole thing. And we get the whole book in the teller's room. All we want is ballot number 9. Please take ballot number 9 and listen carefully instructions on how to vote. Notice what it says on your ballot in regard to bylaw number 34. In order to cast a ballot, a messenger must be present at the time the vote is taken. Voting by proxy is not permitted. You will notice across the top of your ballots there are 9 circle numbers, and in the upper left-hand corner you'll see again Southern Baptist Convention ballot number 9. Please listen carefully to the numbers that I'm going to give you for each individual. To vote for Dr. David Crosby of Louisiana, mark number 1 if you want to vote for him. To vote for Dr. Steve Gaines of Tennessee, mark number 5 if you want to vote for him. And to vote for Dr. J.D. Greer of North Carolina, mark number 9 if you want to vote for him. Let me give you those numbers again, and I'll repeat them for you again. Dr. David Crosby, number 1. Dr. Steve Gaines, number 5. And Dr. J.D. Greer, number 9, if you want to vote for him. Please put off the cut-off corner in the upper left corner as you pass your ballots to your right. Pass your ballots to your right. And be sure that an usher collects your ballots. Ushers, please collect the ballots. Please be patient. The hall is full, and we want to be sure that every ballot is counted and that your vote is we know that it's very important to you.
All right, before we go forward, we must make sure we receive all the ballots. Is there anyone in the auditorium that does not have your ballot in? Ushers, please be sure. We have a group right back in this area. I can't see over there, but I see the ballots. On this side of the auditorium. Thank you. Make your way back there and help that out. Do we have all the ballots turned in? Hold your ballot up. Let us know, and if we can't see you, let us hear you. It looks like we have now collected all the ballots, so we will advance forward in our program. It is a pleasure today to thank Dr. Willie Rice, Chairman of the Committee on Committees, for his report. And so, Dr. Rice, would you please come and present